Welcome to the Skill for Success workshop today. Today is going to be about learning how to rest. That is the best way to manage your stress. So my name is Ester Sesmero. I'm a professor at Montgomery College, and I have been hosting these workshops for the Chemistry and Biological Sciences unit. And today I wanted to share with you about the importance of how to the importance of resting and how we need to do so to better perform. So when I was in grad school, I kind of struggled a lot with this. So this is why today I'm going to share what I found out, and how I kind of manage about this. So the first, as you may remember, in every one of these Skills for Success workshops, my first slide is almost the same. It's always be intentional. So, and every time, since we are covering a different aspect, I will make kind of the second part of the sentence will be different. But always the key for a successful life is being intentional. So, so today, since we're talking about resting, and we're going to talk about resting in the context of performance, right? That to be able to perform correctly, adequately, to be able to perform well, we need to rest. So the better we rest, the better we will perform. So for this reason, today we say be intentional, meet your needs. And the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is who am I? And then the answer is I'm a human being. And it seems something kind of evident, but a lot of times we forget about it. And we think that we're machines that can work forever and that we don't even need to be nourished or full or fueled. We just we can keep going and going and going. And what happens is that we can't. So it's helpful to think, what are my needs? As a human being, what are the things that I need? What are the needs that I need to meet? And what we realize is that we have physical needs, we need to eat, we need to sleep, but we also have emotional needs, we have psychological needs, we have spiritual needs. So all these needs need to be met for us to be able to perform to the best of our ability. Because we can also perform mediocrely or perform halfway, but the idea is we want to perform to the best of our ability, right? So as I was saying, through grad school, I kind of started realizing about this, and with a friend of mine, we came up with this that we call the principle for sanity. Because, it's very important that while we're studying, we still, maintain our sanity. We still need to be ourselves. And it's very important, especially what we're talking about, is also very important for mental health. So we came up with this principle for sanity that had 3 points. So the first point is we need to sleep, then we need to eat, and we need quiet time. And today I'm also going to add to these 3 points the 4th point, that is exercise. So first point, sleep. So here I'm a lot of times we undervalue the power of sleep. And there is a TED talk that I sent with this video that I highly recommend, that is called Want to Succeed, Get More Sleep. That's the title of the TED Talk. And I always show this one to my students because, as we were saying, a lot of times we undervalue the power of sleep. And I remember a student that she was an A student, she was really good and really devoted, and she comes to me and says Esther, I got 50, and I'm how did that happen? And I'm talking with her, And then when I'm trying to figure out like, what her problem was, if there was something that she didn't understand, and then I asked her, okay, how much did you sleep the night before you did this exam? And she was like, 4 hours. And I was like, now I see why. Like, here you have your grade for 4 hours of sleep, right? So it's super, super important that if we don't sleep enough, then we're not able to think. Like always, I have been teaching labs a lot of times. Like I'm a chemistry professor, so I teach. I have taught the 102 lab, like the chemistry 101 lab, the organic chemistry lab, and every time that a student comes and asks me a question that doesn't make any sense, then I always ask them, how much did you sleep today? Because as we're saying, like if we don't sleep enough, then we don't understand anything, then we cannot think. So this slide was especially, I wanted to especially bring it here to see how even like from the biological point, when we are sleeping, all our body, like our system, our physical system is renewed. So our brain is like different parts of the brain are like kind of like cementing what we are learning, what we're thinking, what we're studying. Everything is being like kind of like interiorized in there so that then we can use that knowledge. But if we don't allow our body to rest, if we don't sleep, if our brain doesn't get to do this, look like our lungs is like your immune system when you are sleeping, then it will renew itself so that it can remember the invaders, also that can lead to an illness. So if you don't sleep, like these things that happen in your brain, in your lungs, in your stomach, while you're sleeping, that this will not happen. So this is why also if we don't sleep, we have a higher risk to get sick. So this is another slide kind of related to what we were saying, like what too little sleep does to your body. So in the previous slide, we were talking about things like the things that happen in your body when you are sleeping and how your body is renewed when you are sleeping. Like if you don't sleep, these are the things that may happen to your body. Like you will get more sick, as we were saying. It says here, a study of 164 healthy people found that those who slept less than 5 hours per night were more likely to get a cold than those who slept 7+ hours. So when you sleep less, you have a higher likelihood to get sick. Then it also talks about like tummy troubles, as we were saying, like when we were talking in the previous slide about the things that happen in your stomach. Then difficulty learning, as we were saying, like if you don't sleep, then you cannot focus, you cannot think, you cannot understand things. Then we also, like about your mood, like we all know when you don't sleep, you're cranky. Like when you don't sleep, like nobody can stand you. So, just for the good of the social environment, please sleep. And then like you can have headaches. You also can gain weight, and it sounds kind of funny, but the thing is that if you don't sleep, then you are tired. So if you are tired, you need your energy from somewhere else. So then you will be looking for food all the time, like you will be looking for snacks all the time. You will especially be looking for sugar because you need energy, right, to keep going. So then you will gain weight because you are not sleeping, so you are snacking all the time, especially like those foods that we know that are not good for your body, but that your body is telling you like I need energy, so that you are hungry all the time, and you are especially hungry of like sugar and like carbohydrate, like things that will help you to keep going. And poor vision, like I remember, like when I was in grad school for the first 2 years, I was sleeping about like 6 hours every day, and after 2 years, like I couldn't see things that were far because I was so tired, and then I would be like, I started thinking that I would need glasses because of that, because all these things happen because we are tired. And as you see, like, I don't need glasses, so it was just a matter of sleeping. And then this thing that it may sound funny to you, but this is like depleted sex drive. Of course, if you are tired, you don't want to do anything, not even sex. You just don't want to do anything. You're just tired. So, second thing, eat. So the first point was sleeping. The same thing is eating. So if we are in a situation that we don't have time, you know, like we're stressed out and we feel that we don't have time, the first thing that we do is not sleeping. The second thing that we do is like eat on a rush and eat whatever it is in the fridge, and no matter what it is, like, you know, we can have cake for lunch and whatever it is, like, we just go with it. And this is also a horrible idea because we all know that when we eat crap, we feel like crap. That's it. So the thing is that if we are not eating adequately, then we are also not going to be able to perform adequately. I always remember, like, the first month that I was in the US, I was not 100% sure how people will how people will eat here, like what were their eating habits. So I asked somebody and they said, oh, you know, like we have a sandwich for lunch. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. So then I started doing it, and like when I was doing it for a month, I was like, that's not my thing. because you know, like, it was horrible. I'm sorry, you know, if you like sandwich for lunch, that's great for you, but it didn't work for me. because the thing, like, this is when I realized that, as he was saying, this over here, like, this is how I realized how connected it is what you eat with your mood. Because I will be really miserable, like I will be like so cranky. And I realized that I need to eat well to be able to feel well. so this is why, you know, like I wanted to share it with you so you don't have to go through it. Because it was a hard discovery. so you don't want to get there. So here you know, take home lessons from this slide. The first one is we need to eat at least 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we need to eat healthy and a balanced diet. As we were saying, like, eat better, feel better. And in this part of the slide, I'm putting, it says like 10 reasons doctors talk about your need for good nutrition and diets. The first one is like your well-being, as we're saying, is reduced in a poor diet. Then it says it's expensive to be unhealthy. That's true. Like, you know, it's much more expensive to eat outside of your house, to go to like to McDonald's or Kentucky, or I was going to say another one, but I forgot. So yeah, to go out for eating either pizza or hamburger or like chicken wings or whatever it is, you know, eating out of your house is really expensive. So if you go, like, you plan yourself for the week and you go on Sunday or Saturday or whatever day works for you, you go grocery shopping, you write down the things that you're gonna eat for the week, then it's so much more healthy and it's so much cheaper. So it only has advantages. And then, you know, it helps you to manage your weight, you know, it's much more healthy. Other thing, like, it maintains your immune system, it gives you energy, it delays the effects of aging, you know, like all the things that we're gonna be talking about today are super, super good for your mental health, for your physical health. You know, like, you're not gonna be better eating or taking a lot of meds. You're gonna be better, like, taking care of yourself, like physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, and then seventh, it says that reduce the risk of chronic diseases. I would say, like, is reducing the risk of all kinds of diseases. And then it affects your mood, it increases your focus, And it says healthy diets, as a conclusion, may lengthen your life. You know, here after we have talked already about sleep and eat. Like here, I wanted to mention like an example of one student of mine several years ago, that it was like when I started realizing that this was like a really big deal, that he, you know, he came to my office, and I was mentoring this student, so I have known him for a while, and he was like an amazing student. Like he was like doing research with me, and like believe me if I told you that he was like really amazing, like really devoted. Like he will always get his work done, like really like good, like critical thinking, just like an amazing student. And then he suddenly disappears, and I was like, where's this student? And then a couple of weeks later, like, you know, I was trying to contact him, I couldn't find him. And then a couple of weeks later, like he comes by and I was like, what happened with you? And he was like, I was in the hospital. I was like, why? What happened? You know what happened? Like he was sleeping 4 hours a day and eating once a day. This is what happened. So really, as we're saying, like this is really a big deal. Like if we don't take care of ourselves, like nobody's gonna do it. So we really need to sleep every day, at least 7 hours, 8 is better. And we need to eat every day at least 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So next thing that is also super important, number 3, quiet time. And you know, quiet time is not silly, like it really makes a lot of sense. And here, like I found, this is according to the Harvard Business Review, the busier people are, the more quiet time they need. So the point is, if you feel that you don't have time for it, you really need it. You really need to make time for it. So, because why do we need quiet time? Because I really like this question that it says, how could it be possible to discover oneself in the midst of noise? So the thing is that if we are just like doing, then we are getting out of ourselves. So it sounds funny that you could lose yourself, but you actually do. Like we need to like recollect and have this like quiet time, this moment for yourself, to kind of like get to know yourself, to kind of like know, okay, like what am I doing? Like what about me? Like how am I processing this situation? How am I living this situation? And this is very interesting because usually always the person that, you know, when someone wants to run away from a situation, what do they do? They just like do, so that they don't think. And this is, you know, this is bringing to my mind like another student that I was mentoring, that she was having 3 jobs, right? And I was like, how did you do this? Like, how did you have 3 jobs? And like talking with her a little bit, you will see that really, like she was trying to run away from her life. Like she was trying to run away from her problems at home, she was trying to run away from her problems at work, and she will just like get busy. So, you know, from that I learned that every time that someone tells me like I have this number of jobs or I have this like number of classes, the question is like, what are you running away from? So the conclusion from this is we don't want to run away from our reality, we want to address our reality, right? And to be able to address it, we need to reflect, we need to think, we need to have quiet time. So now I'm talking about like, you know, what are the benefits from quiet time? So as we're saying, like the first benefit is that we recharge our emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. And we reflect, and you know, in previous talks we have also talked about the importance of reflection. Like when we reflect, then we get to know ourselves. And remember, like a quote that I used previously was that We don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So if we don't reflect on experience, we run the risk to repeat the same mistakes, right? Like we all know people, in our lives that for example, like they repeat the same wrong thing and again and again and again. Or like, this guy, like this friend that you have that keeps dating a bad guy and then another one and then another and then another one, right? And they all have something in common, they are all jerks, right? So it's like, how did you do this like every time? Because you didn't reflect about it, right? So the thing is that, we really need to get to know ourselves. We really need to learn from our experiences every day, to learn from our mistakes and to learn from our victories, from the things that we do well and say, okay, I'm gonna keep doing that. Or from the things that, like I'm not gonna do this again because I'm gonna miss the train again, right? So, getting to know ourselves is also super important, because if we know what our talents are, then we can put them to work, right? Then discover what is important. And I love this sentence when it said, like, make order out of chaos. Sometimes we feel that we're in chaos, especially, in finance weeks or things like that. It's kind of like, I have to do all these things, and like, where do I start? So the idea is, like, if I take a moment of quiet time, it's like, okay, write everything down. Where do I start? What's my priority? What's the first thing that I need to accomplish? And it's very funny because it feels kind of like counterintuitive. It's like, if I have all these things to do, like, how am I going to have time to just stop? Like, I need to do things, right? Yes, but the thing is that if you just do, and you don't do it with an order, you don't know what the priorities are, then you may miss things, right? Like maybe, I don't know if this has happened to you, but it has happened to me, that you start doing something and you don't realize that you actually, like, there was a previous deadline that you're missing, right? So this is why it's super important that we think about it first. We remember, like, be intentional. Like, we plan it and we say, okay, what is the first deadline I need to meet? What is the second one? What is the third one? What are the things that I need for this and this and this deadline? And this way, like, when we have a plan, then we can go and accomplish it. So, and then the last point I wanted to cover, to point out, was living in the present moment. Like, how many times we're thinking about, like, what I'm going to do in the weekend and I don't know what I'm doing right now. So that's a problem. So the thing is that, and like, I was gonna say, like, this reminded me about a student, when I was teaching a lab, and he was saying, like, I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to keep living in the future. Like, when I will become a doctor, I will do this and this and this. When I will do this, I will be that and that. Like, I don't want to be happy in the future. I want to be happy now, right? So the idea is that, we always need to have goals for the future, and that's great. But it's important that we are also enjoying the present moment, that we are also taking advantage of the present moment. So this is why I wrote here that living in the quiet time will help us to live in the present moment. And in the present moment, we will assess where we are. Okay, what is my situation at the moment? What are the resources that I have at the moment? What are the things that I need right now? I will interiorize what I'm learning, and then I will decide what I'm going to do next. Right? Fourth, so we already covered, we talked about sleep, we talked about eat, and we talked about quiet time. And our fourth point is exercise. And a lot of times, there are, like, all kinds of people, but there are, like, kind of like exercise freaks too, like people that, in a sense, kind of like, you have to do it every day and like this, and that's great. But a lot of us are kind of like, oh, like, that's not a work. I don't need to do that. Right? So I really wanted to invite you to exercise. I'm not telling you to do it every day or every week, like you will decide what works for you, but do it, like put it in your scale. and it's, I can tell you by my experience that you see, like if you look at me, you will not think like I'm a great athlete, because I'm not. but like I have experienced how helpful exercise is. So, like and for the first time, like I used to hate, like literally hate running. But it was, and so I would say, like I don't have time for this, right? But I have really seen the fruit and the benefit and the result from it. And now I try to go running at least every week, and it's just super good. First, you feel accomplished. Like you go running and you challenge yourself, and then you come back and you're like, wow, like I did it, yay! Like I can do this. And as I'm telling you, like also, kind of challenge yourself. Like don't think, oh, I cannot do this, because as I'm saying, like I don't look like an athlete, right? And if I tell you, like I run a 5K, you're like, what? So, actually, when I 4 years I was, like I used to exercise, but I would never do it. And then a girl came to live in the house I was living, and she was actually like a runner, and she would go running every day. So I was like, okay, like can I go with you like once a week? So then I started going with her like on Thursdays, and it was very funny because the first time, I have not run in like years. And the first time I went with her, and she was like, oh, how do you run? I'm like, I just don't. And it was so funny because she just, we just started running together that day, and we actually almost ran like 2 miles. And I was running for like 40 minutes. And I was like, like I totally didn't think that I was able to do that, but I did, and then we started doing it every Thursday. And as I'm saying, like first, you feel so accomplished because you are like, wow, like I can do this. And then second, is something that you do it and it has an immediate gratification. And we love immediate gratifications. So it's something that you can do and you see the result right away. Like you don't need to wait forever, you don't need to wait for a day or for a month. Like you just do it and just feel good. So I highly encourage it, especially when I was in grad school, that I was doing research, and my research was literally no immediate gratification. It was like you do something and you don't see the results until like next year, because every day you go there and it was like extremely frustrating, it will not work. So I started loving the things that you can do it and you see the immediate gratification right away. So running was like great, because as we were saying, like you feel so good. And there are like, I didn't put it in here, but there are like a lot of also, biology in it, or like hormones that are released and all these things that make you feel good. So it's a very healthy way to feel good. It doesn't have any disadvantages. So, and it helps release stress so much. And all the things that we talked about before for sleeping, like here is the same thing, like it improves your mood, it like clear thinking, it controls your waste, it boosts energy. And I also wanted to point out an aspect here that is socializing. Like this is also, this is a point that I didn't cover until now in this presentation, and that is also super important for like physical health, mental health. Like being social, like having friends, having relationships, like interactions, talking with people. And as I was saying, when I started running consistently, like I always had like a partner, like an accountability partner, like someone that is gonna help you to do what you wanna do, right? So I wanted to briefly here talk about social interaction, because we are all social beings and we need to stay connected. So it can be either, like if you can be with friends, but if at the moment, like we cannot be with friends in this situation, then we always can, we can talk on the phone, we can like FaceTime, but we were made to be connected. So don't isolate yourself. I'm remembering about a friend that she's in a hard situation, like financially and like personally, like she's a single mom and she is living just with her son and she needs to work and she needs to take care of the laundry and the food and all these things. And she was telling me the other day, like, like I have the risk to just like isolate myself and think about like these are my problems and nobody needs to know about them and I can just like figure it out by myself. But then she was telling me, I'm realizing that that's not the way to go. That especially the last couple of weeks, like I have been feeling so much better because I have been reaching out to my friends and I have been sharing with them what my situation is, and they have like encouraged me and supported me a lot. And it sounds funny, but even just saying it, sometimes like it just makes you feel better. Because when I was talking with her, I was like, like thank you for sharing it. And even if I cannot solve her problem, just the fact that she shared it with me first, like it conveys, like it shows that we're friends and we like share the things that we are worried about. But also the thing that, a shared burden is half of the burden. So if we have something that worries us, if we share with someone, then we are already sharing the burden, we are already like carrying it together. So it's very important in every situation, like no matter where you are at, always remember that you are not the only person in the world that has gone through that. So people can always help you, just need to reach out, right? So we can, as we're saying, like if we can see our friends in this situation, that's great, but if we cannot, then we can always call, we can always FaceTime people, and that's, that's connection. Like we already feel that we are accompanied, that we are walking together. So, recap, to finish, to remember all that we talked about. So the first, we talked about sleep. We need to sleep at least 7 hours. 8 is better. Like 8 is so much better, so do 8, just go with 8. Then eating, like we need to eat healthy and balanced, and at least 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. And remember, remember what we talked about last time, like we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan, right? So the idea is like if you plan in advance, then you will not be rushing and like taking whatever it is, right? So it's very important, maybe Sunday, take a moment to plan what are you going to eat for the rest of the week. And this way, like when you come in the morning, you don't need to be, oh, what do I take now? Like you know what you need to take, right? So number 3, quiet time. I will say like at least 15 to 30 minutes a day. So at least 15 minutes, like 5 minutes in the morning to say like, okay, what do I want to get accomplished today? What do I need to do today? How do I want to live my day? And then at least 5 minutes at the end of the day to say like, okay, what did I learn today? What did I get done today? What do I need to do tomorrow? At least like a minimum of 10 minutes every day. But I will highly, like, at least in me, as you see, like I'm an extrovert, but I'm seeing more and more, I need more and more quiet time. So right now, if I don't have at least like 30 minutes of quiet time, like I'm not myself. So I highly, highly recommend it. And then like exercise, like I will say at least once a week. And as we're saying, like, like you say, oh, I don't have time, just like, if you say like, I don't have time, it's like, actually it's like, I didn't make the time. So, like set an appointment and say like, okay, I'm meeting with my friend Johanna, and at this time, and then make a commitment, like, okay, I'm going to go running with Johanna at like 3 p.m. on Sunday. Good. And so, to finish, the better we rest, the less stressed we are, the better we perform. Yay! So thank you so much for your attention, and if you have any questions, just, feel most welcome to email me, and I hope you find it helpful.